Hello Summoners and welcome back to another ProGuides video. My name is Irene and today we'll be doing something really special. If you've been following our channel for some time, you'll notice that we constantly tell you guys to review your VODs. However, to be quite frank, VOD review is a tedious task and it takes dozens, if not hundreds of hours to get really good at them. A lot of the time, you'll just be reviewing your gameplay and you'll be able to spot out the obvious mistakes, but the details are often missed. That's why we have this brand new VOD review analysis coaching over at ProGuides.com. Over there, we have professional challenger level players who can review your gameplay and pinpoint every single thing you need to work on in order to climb. In addition to that, they'll give you some advice which is tailored and personalized to each student so they improve at the fastest speed possible. The results after you get a VOD review coaching session are staggering. In fact, in this video, we'll be going over one of our students' replays, which was analyzed by a challenger and collegiate professional named Saskia. This student has improved a lot, and I'm sure you can too, so click the link in the description if you find this video useful. Now, let's jump straight into the video. For a little bit of context, let's call our student Billy. So Billy initially came to ProGuides looking for a coach to help him escape low ELO. At the time, he was a Caitlyn and Ashe main, but has recently branched out and is playing other champions like Lucian and Kai'Sa. So to start the VOD, Billy does a great job here by standing in the specific square in the bottom lane tri-brush. A lot of low ELO players don't do this, but standing here at the start of the game is crucial for spotting out invades. In addition to that, it also minimizes the chances of random cheese plays, which often causes your dead teammates to start flaming or AFKing. You want to hone in on where Billy is standing, which is in the bottom left part of the brush. The reason why standing here is the best is due to the fact that the enemies won't see you if you immediately run around the corner if you see them invading. You'll also want to place a ward on the exact spot you were standing on, so only ranged champions on the enemy team will get a shot at clearing your trinket. Billy heads to lane, and of course, the Yasuo support is AFK, so this lane is hard to play out from the start. Very typical in a low elo game, but nothing will stop our protagonist from winning this game. However, he does a very good job of using his Q to secure the first 3 melee minions, since they are all low HP at the same time when you get to laning phase. Billy gets hit by Zilean's bomb because he wanted to go for the mage creep dying, but realized he would be completely entering Sivir and Zilean's zone of influence. Zone of influence is a big term, and we've used and explained it in the past, but we will be bringing it up a couple of times throughout this video because of its importance. To explain what it means, zone of influence is understanding an area that a champion can impact. Basically, knowing the maximum range of characters' abilities and auto attack range and playing around it. In this case, we can draw Sivir's Q and Zilean's bomb range relative to where they are standing. Now, Kai'Sa needs to draw these in her mind and play around it to achieve the CS or to simply give up the gold and just get the experience. However, even with the concept in mind, Billy gets hit again and again and again. This goes to show the importance of zone of influence and playing with it in mind at all stages of the game. The next thing we want to talk about is playing passive while the enemy has a bigger minion wave. As we can see here, the wave has been pushing and is still pushing towards Billy. There is absolutely zero reason to walk up because he will get severely punished by the enemy bottom lane. Instead, understanding that giving up gold and maintaining HP at high levels is more important than risking himself and getting poked before the wave even hits the tower. It is very normal for the bottom lane being pushed in to be down 6 or 7 CS, but that's the price that must be paid if you cannot control the early laning phase. Finally, Yasuo comes back from his AFK adventures, and Billy decides to CS this low HP mage minion across the battlefield, and gets demolished by a bomb and Sivir's double boomerang. So before the minion wave has even crashed in, he is now below half HP. While we understand that Yasuo was AFK, that does not excuse walking up and getting poked for free, especially when the minion wave was coming in. Billy heals for health to help sustain through the laning phase. While the decision is correct, the timing is very poor. Since heal also targets an ally and gives movement speed, he should have waited for Yasuo to all-in before popping heal, so they both have movement speed going into the all-in to have more tools to fight the enemy. As long as Billy is mindful of Zilean's potential use of Ignite, they will likely win the all-in trade if heal is popped before the healing reduction comes through. Yasuo finds a good opportunity to all-in and break press the attack, allowing Zilean to take more damage. From here, Billy simply follows up and secures the kill on Zilean, but makes a mistake on the following play. Instead of kiting towards the brush to lose minion aggro, he stands still and face tanks everything outside of the brush. While it is true that Sivir has a ward to place in the brush, there's a decent chance to catch Sivir on an auto attack rotation and slow her damage output. Oh, and Billy auto attacked the ward placed in the brush. In this situation, many ADCs will start autopiloting and shove the wave because that is what they've been conditioned to do. Billy does an extremely good job here of last hitting and waiting for the next wave to come before clearing the wave. Now the wave has an extra 2 mage creeps going into the next push, giving their bot lane an advantage to trade or fully shove the wave in. The next concept we want to talk about is the sweet spot in bottom lane. The sweet spot is a position in bottom lane where the minion fight takes place in front of any tower. It generally benefits the team that is able to hold the wave in front of their own tower because they have 4 advantages when they do so. They cannot get ganked, straight and simple. Since you're under tower, opponents won't gank you, but they may dive you, which is what we'll talk about in a second. Your opponents can get ganked since they are the ones pushed up having to clear the wave. You can poke your opponents since they need to opt themselves into you to clear the wave. Just make sure to avoid engagements because they still have the bigger minion wave at the end of the day. Lastly, if you still cannot contest the wave or trade, simply let them push the wave in and catch it safely under tower. However, the one weakness with this strategy is if you have a losing mid laner and the enemy is able to get a push going and dive as a 3 or 4 man, resulting in your guys' death. If you're being dove with full HP, you can outplay it pretty easily, but if you are half HP for whatever reason, it's likely that you may have taken bad trades, which led to this play happening bottom lane. Billy pushes in bot wave and gets a basic ward in river, which is correct. However, both sides have full vision of the dragon being taken, so it's incorrect to re-enter the lane here. He should have instead rotated over and cleaned up the fight and secured the dragon immediately. To be quite honest, the game would have been over here because of the double kill, dragon, and huge morale boost for the blue team. Amumu starts ganking bot lane, but let's debunk an unpopular opinion. Getting ganked in the bottom lane should always be seen as an opportunity instead of a disadvantage. When enemies gank you, they're opting themselves into you, giving you the advantage to get a lot of damage on them. On top of that, they are the ones that are pressured to land their abilities, while all you have to do is dodge. Let's add a counter on top of each champion in this play to show how the blue team has a numbers advantage even when they are literally down a champion. Since Zilean is extremely low HP in mana, his value is 0.25. Since he can maybe speed someone and potentially ignite. Sivir is valued at a 1, which is a standard, and Amumu is valued at 0.75, since he's 80% HP. In total, the red team has a whopping value of 2 for this gank. Meanwhile, Yasuo is valued at a 1, and Kai'Sa is valued at a 1.5, with the 3 remaining mage minions counting as 0.5. As you can see, the blue team has a bigger number, but once you play out the situation, the numbers shift massively as abilities are thrown out. The second Amumu misses his Q, he instantly loses any value he had, making the fight easier, allowing blue team to clean up the fight. These numbers may sound like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but the general concept completely applies to every single League of Legends game at all stages of the game. Just look at that one fed Zed in your solo queue games in the side lane, valued at a 3. Your team needs to send a series of players that total a value of 3 or higher in order to take him down. Aside from crazy outplays and missed skill shots, this is an idea that should be thought about when approaching any given situation in a game. Blue team just pushed the wave and reset, which is very good. If you look at the wave, aside from Sivir pushing the wave is in a really good spot for the blue team regardless of what the red team does. The reason is due to the fact that no matter what happens, when Billy gets to lane, the wave will be pushed in, allowing blue to hold the wave in the sweet spot, forcing the enemy team to walk up. Basically, blue team is staying ahead on tempo, which is a massive topic that we created its own video on, so check that out to better understand it. As we can see here, Billy previously purchased a pickaxe and now has grabbed tier and boots. Our analysts believe that if you plan on purchasing Manamune, that grabbing the pickaxe first is more worth it. While it may give you more mana and sustain to get the tier and make you feel like you're charging it up faster, our logic is why not purchase 25 AD and use that instant boost in stats to farm more easily and kill your opponents. Then, with those advantages, reach your tier or Manamune, allowing you to stack it faster since Manamune charges off auto attacks. This idea may sound absurd, but experimenting and finding what works for you is something you'll have to try before coming to a solid conclusion. However, here at Team ProGuides, our analysts are siding with the pickaxe purchase so we can mine that LP. Here, Yasuo initiates a play and dies for it shortly after to Sivir's boomerang. We want to highlight the orb walking here. Orb walking is attacking and moving while your auto attack is on cooldown. Our student Billy used to click the enemy champion and let Jesus take the wheel, which would always result in the enemy getting away. Doing this strategy is very bad, since when the game thinks you are in range of a champion, they won't move while your auto attack is on cooldown. However, once the auto attack becomes available again, the game will realize, oh, you're out of range, and start making you chase. But by then, the enemies are out of range. In this case, he does a really good job of auto attacking and moving immediately towards the enemy and attacking only when his auto attack is available. Billy lands a Void Seeker, applying a Plasma Stack onto Sivir and ults in to finish her off. While this is the correct play, the execution is very poor. He should have ulted way past Sivir so the tower aggro stops and finish off the Sivir and maintain full HP. Even though he makes the mistake of ulting directly under the tower, he was still fine if he ran towards Tribrush, only taking 2 tower shots instead of taking 4 by running back through the lane. But here's the kicker. Even through all those mistakes, Billy could have just finished off the tower and cleared the wave right after. This is a very specific mechanic to Kai'Sa that you can apply in very intense scenarios. When you evolve an ability, you can do an animation that takes a while, but this can actually be cancelled. In order to cancel the animation of Kai'Sa's evolve, you need to manually hover your mouse over the evolve and click it. After clicking it, you immediately reset by clicking B on your keyboard, and click anywhere on the screen to cancel and reset and start moving. While this may not be useful in the fountain, there are very niche situations where you reach 100 attack damage from Manamune or levels during a fight, and you need that bit of extra damage to win the fight. Instead of evolving and dying because of the animation, you can quickly pull this mechanic off and have the evolved Q to finish off the fight for that sweet YouTube highlight. It's going to take some practice, so make sure you try this multiple times in a practice tool game before you pull it out in a real game. Kai'Sa and Yasuo catch out Sivir and start pursuing her under the tower. The mistakes here were Yasuo not ulting and Billy not fully committing to the play while Yasuo was tanking. However, the third and important issue we want to highlight is the auto attack on the tower, which made Kai'Sa stay in range too long and die to the tower. This mistake can easily be fixed by applying a setting in game called Target Champions Only. While you click this button, you cannot click minions or towers, meaning that you can't misclick like Kai'Sa in this segment. It mostly applies to ADCs, but can easily be binded for any other role. Keep in mind this key is not auto-binded to any button, but binding it to the tilde key, which is above tab or to the left of 1, or even to T, will make it very accessible for situations when you are diving, just like this. Billy starts side laning, which is okay, but the issue is not backing off with all the information being presented to the blue team. As we can see, 3 red team members entered bot side, while no one on the blue team is in the position to pressure any objectives. He overstays on the map, and lo and behold, the enemy team is there, and the deed is done. However, if this ever happens to you, typing to your team in chat about why they aren't pressuring anything, followed with an XD at the end, is your best bet. Just joking. It is Billy's fault for not recognizing that the enemies were collapsing through vision and not backing off to wait for the team to get on the map and set up. The next big concept here we want to talk about is the 4 steps to League of Legends, which is push vision, push execute. If you are ever pressuring, these steps guarantee perfect control. To be honest, we could make a whole video on this concept, but we will explain how it looks like in this game. As you can see here, 21 minutes into the game, the blue team just pushed, which is step number 1. Now they can transition to step number 2 and establish vision and sweep enemy wards. The reason they can do this is because of their numbers advantage, while somebody on the enemy red team is showing on the minion wave to clear, and Sivir is showing bottom. After establishing vision, the blue team will clear the next oncoming wave while they defend some of their vision at the same time. Transitioning to the most important step, which is execution, this step can look like many things, but the most common ones are to siege, take Baron, or to sit in the jungle and look for picks. While it may be hard to get every single one of your solo queue teammates on board, your best bet is to ping and hope people follow, because it is a lot better than standing around mid lane and just hoping a fight breaks out. A big mistake many players make is walking up to waves when their team is behind on tempo, and contesting waves they have zero business being on. As we can see here, Billy's team is all in base, and is nowhere in position to contest vision or fight. The enemy team comes out and kills him with no sweat. This is basically the ADC's version of a top laner getting caught in the lane and blaming the team for not having vision or being in a position to do something on the map. Instead, all Kai'Sa had to do was let Sivir push in the wave and catch the wave under tower, when more blue team members are on the map to help out. Making mistakes like these this late into the game can slow down tempo for a whole 2 to 3 minutes, because nobody needs to wait for your respawn timer. After that, you need to physically get onto the map and fix waves and start applying push vision, push execute, which all take 3 minutes if you are doing it properly. This is why scaling champions are so valued in lower level play, because teams don't properly end and people get caught out all the time. Billy approaches this team fight and opens up with a Void Seeker onto a Mumu. He repositions and starts dishing out all the free damage he can and only ults in once the enemy team is out of range. He then cleans up the fight and secures the Baron to end the game. This concludes the game, but overall a very good demonstration of things that players need to work on and master if they want to improve and climb to a higher rank. These are the words from Sasuke himself. Billy has improved over a couple sessions with me for sure. When he first came to me, he lacked so many of the basic fundamentals of League of Legends, but helping him and actually seeing him apply some of it to his gameplay has made me very proud. I'm very confident in his ability to continue his climb once he has more time to keep practicing the things I teach him. That concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to receive this type of coaching, make sure to head over to ProGuides.com and check out the VOD review coaching system to send in a replay and get a video outlining the things that you need to work on. That's going to be it for today. Best of luck on the Rift Summoners, and make sure to be awesome.